Hi there, Karen Flaherty here from Living by Human Design. Today's transit report is all about the gate 4 in the sun. And so we're going to be talking about answers and the possibility of answers. Okay, so this week we've got the sun in gate 4 starting on August 11th. It goes until the 17th. The earth is in the gate 49. So the gate 4 is up here coming off the top of the ajna. And the gate 49 is down here coming off the bottom of the solar plexus. And so they're quite far apart. The 4 is all about answers and the possibility of answers, logical answers, by the way. And then the 49 is all about principles and are the principles that we hold to. And this actually, as you can see, forms a channel with the gate 19, which is still in Saturn. And so the 19 and the 49 will be in all week. So this stays all week. It's the 1949 is called the channel of synthesis. The 19, if you recall from a few weeks ago, is the gate of sensitivity. And this stays all week. So the root and the solar plexus will be defined for everyone from the 11th through the 17th. And then, additionally, we have starting on Thursday, we have the channel of mating, which is the 59 and 6 here. This is sacral will get defined as well as the solar plexus and the root, and it'll stay for 3 days until Saturday. And so, whether you've got if you don't have the solar plexus defined or the root defined, those will be defined the early part of the week for everyone, and then the sacral gets added on Thursday, and that'll continue for 3 days. And so that's a lot of definition. So Mercury is in the gate 59, moves into gate 59, and the Venus is in the gate 6, and that's why we get this channel. So if you're a projector or manifester or reflector, you will definitely feel the sacral energy this week, and it will feel like you have more energy to do things. So just be aware of that. It's only for a few days. It might be a nice extra little push to get things done, and you can go ahead and do that, and then move on to and then take a rest, hopefully over the weekend, and when it's done on Saturday. So we've got the gate 4, which I'm calling logical answers, because it's not just an answer, it's the possibility of answers, because it occurs in the logical channel coming in through the head and into the ajna. In the I Ching, we call it youthful folly or formulation. This is the energy to beguile and succeed despite ignorance. It's freedom from retribution, with freedom from retribution, by the way. What this means is that there's the possibility of answers. You can have a lot of different answers. They're not necessarily the right answers. They could just be people who have and who do have either this one gate or the entire channel that think they have all the answers. And so that can be that can be great if they're good answers, or if they're at least open-minded answers, or they're taking into consideration themselves as well as everyone else. It can come from ignorance, and it can come from a place where they're just spouting out answers for the sake of having an answer. And so that might not serve everyone. The incarnation crosses this week are the cross of explanation, solutions, and the rebel, because of the 49, which is the gate of principles, is also sometimes called the gate of revolution. And in the gene keys, we've got intolerance, understanding, and forgiveness. The gate 49 is the gate of principles, as I mentioned, also called revolution sometimes in the original I Ching. And ideally, this is the transformation of forms based on the highest principles and not simply the power, not simply for power. So what this means is that you have your principles, and you're not just stating them because you want more power or more authority or more money or more something else, but that you're doing it for the highest principles. So you can take that as you will, because of course it's very subjective. It's up to everyone what those principles are, how they're enacted, and how they're perceived, especially in light of a revolution. Here in the Gene Keys, reaction is the shadow. In other words, you're being reactionary with regard to the principles. Revolution is the gift, believe it or not, because revolution is wanted and warranted sometimes. And rebirth is the CD. So here in this graphic, Richard says there are no mistakes in life. And so while we might have answers, we might think we have answers, there are no mistakes. Every answer can be helpful. Every answer can be something that we're either delighted with or at least experimenting with. It's all about logical answers. So it's a hypothesis sometimes that we're trying to get an answer to. But the shadow here is intolerance, where we're not allowing for other people's answers, right? If we have our own answers and we keep coming up with answers all the time, which is what can happen with this gate, there's intolerance, because if I think my answers are the only answers, that's intolerance. We have to be open to everyone's answers and the possibility of still more answers. The gift is understanding, because with understanding, we're able to see that there are many, many answers to any question. And the CD is forgiveness, because really we want to be in a state of forgiveness for our own mistakes and for other people's mistakes, right? And so what he says is mental assuredness cannot make the body feel safe. So coming from the head, because that gate 4 is right up in the ajna, it doesn't necessarily mean just because we're sure or we think we're sure about those answers that the body is safe. And so that's a consideration as well. You know, just because you think the answer is right doesn't mean it's right for even your own body. And he also says the true understanding lies outside the domain of the mind. In other words, and Ra always used to say this too, that the answers really lie within the body, not in the head and the ajna. And then finally, forgiveness is the thunderbolt that is released when a being attains Christ consciousness. And again, this is according to, is from the Gene Keys book from Richard Rudd. So whether you call it Christ consciousness or unity consciousness or some other kind of consciousness, forgiveness is really the key when it comes to, especially when it comes to talking about answers and people's opinions about those answers. So we've got a number of people who were born this week, some people who thought they had all the answers. As you can see, Napoleon Bonaparte, Fidel Castro, people who were in positions of leadership who thought they had the answers. Also a number of, also some actors and actresses, Magic Johnson, the basketball player, Madonna, Jennifer Lawrence, Steve Carell, Dr. Jocelyn Elders, who was the first Surgeon General, first African-American Surgeon General in the US, Julia Child, who definitely had all the answers when it came to cooking. So you can, and then when it comes to this week in history, we've got from August 11th to the 16th, we've got a number of different things going on, including, Summer Olympics in a number of years. In 1984, Carl Lewis won 4 Olympic gold medals, tying the record for Jesse Owens in 1936. Henry Ford's first Model T rolled off the assembly line. That was certainly an answer to a lot of people's desires in those days. It was a lot faster than the horse and buggy. President Franklin Roosevelt signed the Social Security bill into being in 1935, and in 1961, the erection of the Berlin Wall began, preventing access between East and West Germany. They thought that was an answer there, right? In 1981, computer giant IBM introduced its first personal computer. In 2001, astronomers announced the first solar system discovered outside of our own. And over, this also happens to be Woodstock weekend on August 15th in 1969. Woodstock occurred with over 400,000 people attending. I still find that hard to believe. And the US Senate approved economic sanctions in 1986 against South Africa to protest that country's apartheid policies. So these are a lot of examples, actually, of people coming up with answers for lingering questions. And that's what this week is all about. So if you feel the need to express your opinions about your answers, go ahead. It'll definitely be in the air this week, but also be aware that other people will have answers as well. And so you might want to take those with a grain of salt. Some of them might work, some of them might not work. It's logical answers usually, but sometimes they're not. And so you just want to be aware of that. See what answers come to you, see what questions you might have to ask, and ask them. Go to bed with some questions each night and see if you get the answers. It'll be interesting to see. Have a great week and enjoy your summertime. Take care.